How's it going? I think I've mentioned on a number of occasions how much I absolutely love pizza. But sadly, pizza in its form that you get from the typical chains or in its frozen form really isn't within my diet. I'm working hard to lose weight and I've been doing very well. But I'm not allowed to have carbs and I'm not allowed to have sugar for the most part. One of the worst things you can eat in this sort of diet is white flour. And so when you order pizza from a chain, you're getting a white pizza crust. And when you get frozen pizza, you're getting all the processed stuff, which is horrible for you as well. So I've sort of been on a quest to try to find my perfect pizza. And I've tried a few things. I've tried cauliflower crust, homemade cauliflower crust, which is okay, but not great. I've tried some of the cauliflower crust frozen pizza, but again, there's a lot of refined carbs in there as well. And so today we're going to try a different approach. We're going to make our own pizza, but we're going to make it with a whole wheat crust. I wish the chain stores sold that. I would still be a little skeptical because, first of all, they oftentimes in their sauce they have sugar, which is really not part of my diet either. And so, and you can never really know what's in whatever they're serving you versus what if you make it yourself. So today we're going to make a couple of pizzas for dinner using whole wheat flour to make a crust. And then our normal toppings, except for the sauce, is a organic, no sugar sauce as well. So we're going to try to do our best to make a delicious pizza with none of the bad things that we're avoiding. All right, so first thing we're going to do is make the dough for the crust. And I've got a recipe here. I'll link that down in the description for a whole wheat dough. And we're going to make it now. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's go. The first thing we're going to do is, so we're going to use our stand mixer to make this. The first thing we're going to want to do is activate the yeast. Now, the instructions say to mix the water, the yeast, and a little bit of honey in the mixing bowl. But the water's warm, of course, but a mixing bowl is metal and the house is relatively cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually fill the mixing bowl up with hot water and sort of temper that so that when I put the water in, it doesn't immediately cool that water off and therefore undo what we're trying to do, which is activate the yeast. All right, so let's go ahead and fill the bowl up with hot water. And once we empty that, let's add in 1.5 cups of warm water, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, and 1 tablespoon of honey. And we're going to mix that up really well. And then we're just going to let it sit covered for about 5 minutes for the yeast to activate. And you'll see it'll be foamy on top when it's done. After that, we're going to start adding in the dough ingredients. And we're going to start with 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, a teaspoon of salt, and there were options for putting in other spices. We're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of Italian dressing. And on top of that, we're going to put in 3 1/4 cups of whole wheat flour. Then we're going to set the stand mixer on low and let it mix in everything together really well. Now, this produces a dough that's very, very heavy and thick. So you're not going to be able to use the stand mixer to knead with. Once it's done mixing for about 3 minutes, we're going to turn the dough out onto the counter with a little bit of flour on it, keep it from sticking, and we're going to hand knead it for about 5 minutes. Once that's done, we're going to preheat the oven to about 150 degrees because, as I mentioned, the house is kind of cool, so we're not going to get a good rise just leaving that dough on the counter. And we're going to, in the mixing bowl, we're going to put a little bit of oil in the bottom. We're going to put the dough in there and turn it, get it nice and coated with oil. We're going to cover that with aluminum foil. Then we're going to place it in the oven, which is now preheated. We're going to turn it off and leave the door open, put it in there for about a half hour. And after that half hour is done, we're going to close the door and finish the rise for a total of about 2 hours. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and pull the dough, punch it down to get rid of the air, cut it in half, and we're going to make 2 pizzas out of this. We're going to form up each crust, and we're going to do this on parchment paper. Then we're going to go ahead and add our toppings. Now, as I mentioned, we have this nice sugar-free sauce. We're going to cover it up with sugar-free sauce. Then we're going to put a little bit of cheese down to add as an anchor for our ingredients. Now on Victoria's Pizza, she wants to have mushrooms and onions. And then I'm going to have pepperoni, black olives, and a little bit of mushrooms as well. And we're going to cover that all up with mozzarella cheese. And we're going to put our pizza stone in the oven. Preheat the oven to 475 degrees. And then on the parchment paper, using our little pizza thingy, you'll see it. We're going to put it on the pizza stone, and we're going to cook the pizza about 15 to 16 minutes. And of course, we'll eyeball that at the end to make sure we think it's properly done. At the end, we're going to have this beautiful, lovely pizza. And I can't wait to try it. So let's go ahead and get this cut up, serve it up. Let's see how it turns out. Hopefully, I will finally have come across my perfect pizza recipe because I would love to have pizza more often than I do, which is very rare right now. Okay, well, let's give this a try and see what we think. How's it look?
It looks amazing. I'm going to need to do like a fork and knife thing here. You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah, it might be too hot, so...
Yeah?
Really good.
Probably the healthiest pizza you've ever had.
Delicious.
Yeah? Whole wheat crust, organic low sugar sauce, mushrooms, fresh onion.
And not a ton of cheese, it looks like.
A lot of cheese.
A lot of cheese? Wow.
Fresh red pepper, and a lot of mozzarella.
Yum. That's very good.
Cool. Well, mine's still cooking, so we'll get mine out in just a moment, and we'll get our own taste of it as well. All right, mine's ready. I let it cool down quite a bit. The crust is nice and thick, but still crispy. Lots of toppings. Delicious. I'm going to really, really enjoy this. All right, there you go. Whole wheat pizza crust from scratch. It's pretty easy. And I think my search for the perfect healthy pizza is done. We'll see you later.